This video is an addendum to topic 4, part 3 video. In the part 3 video, we ran out of time. I didn't get a chance to show you a critical feature of using the SQLite3 program as a command line tool. So we're going to cover that here in this extra video. The basic idea is that you can use SQL scripts in files that you don't really understand how they work, but you understand what they do. This is advantageous in a large organization where some people may be quite talented and experienced at writing complex SQL queries, and they can put these in a file and pass them around, making sure that all the other users know what they do, even though the users might not understand exactly how the script goes about getting the end result. So what we're going to do is illustrate that here. We're going to go here to our MYI directory, and we're going to create a new file. It's called create percentile table.sql. Okay? So now, turns out that part of the tax model source code has the script that does this. So I'm going to bring up my browser, my internet browser. I'm here at the tax models homepage, and I'm going to do something a little different. I'm going to look at the files that are in the repository. And I happen to know that the file we're looking for is here in www/tests. It's called create percentile table. Now, what it does is create, you can read these lines right here. Take a moment to read these lines. So the percentile, the income percentile that each person in or each filer in the database is in is an important thing if you want to make tables, or graphs, like we showed in topic 3. We had people organized, sorted into percentiles, 100 groups by income. Now, I'm not going to go through the business down here at the bottom. We're just going to copy and paste this, put that on my clipboard. I'm going to go back to my editor. I'm going to paste it off the clipboard. So there we go. I'm going to save it, and I'm going to get out of here. And I can see now that I've saved it here. Why have I saved it here, not in topic 4? Because as you'll see in a moment, we'll be able to use this script, this SQL script, from any of the directories just by pointing to it up in the parent directory. Okay? So we're going to go to the Anaconda prompt now. This is where we left off at the end of the first part of part 3 of topic 4 video. The key thing is that we had run the file for 2025. We'd run the model for 2025 with the reform, and we'd use the db dump option. So we have a database. So what we're going to do is look at that just to refresh our memory. I'm going to copy this to the clipboard, and then we're going to do this simple command that we learned about before that shows us the tables. So this is exactly what we saw in the earlier video. We have two tables, one for the reform and one for current law policy. Each table has the 370,000 some rows, and it has the 5 columns named the way it is here. The record ID, that's the unique identifier, the sampling weight, the full income, and the personal income tax liability, the PI tax. That's how much each person owes under either current law or under the reform. So now what we're going to do is we're going to use SQLite3 as a command line tool. And we put this script up in the parent directory. I hit the enter key and it's done. Now let's see what happened. What we're going to do is we're going to run the scheme again. What we're going to see are these same two tables, but there's going to be at the end, there's going to be a new third table. Here it is. It's just like what the comment said. We've created a new table called percentile, and it has 2 columns. It has a record ID, and it has an integer called p-tile, which ranges from 0 to 99, showing which of the 100 percentiles each record is in. So we can do something quite simple by, we can select everything from the percentile table, but we can, instead of looking at 370,000, we can limit it to 10. Whoops. Forgot to put the ending quote here. So it turns out that the first groups are all in the bottom percentile. Now I'm going to switch back to the editor and in the topic 4 directory, and I'm going to create a percentile SQL file, okay? And I'm going to do some of the things I did before. I'm going to switch into column mode to have the output look a little nicer. And I'm going to select p-tile and the sum of the weights. From the current law policy table, which has the weight in it. And I'm going to join the percentile table using the record ID. Now, and I'm going to, so I'm going to group this. This is another SQL feature. Group by percentile. We want to see percentile. Having percentile greater than or equal to 90. Now, we're just going to look at the end of it. So we're going to save that. We're going to come back here. We're going to use the trick, using it as a command line tool. And there we go. So let's stop and look at this. Let me get on the screen the script. Okay, this script produced the output just above. Okay, so we're selecting 2 columns. First of all, the value of percentile from the percentile table, and we're summing up the weights from the current law policy table. We're joining the two tables because they have a common unique identifier of the tax filer, the record ID. So then we've seen that before. This last row is a new feature of SQL. We can say we want to group the results by the value of the percentile. Now, if we had just ended after the group by, we would have seen all 100 of those come up. But the halving clause means we're restricting the output to be just groups that have the percentile greater than or equal to 90. Let's see if we can cement our understanding of this. Sorry. Let's get the first one. The first ones, can't type here. Now, these are the low percentiles. One part I forgot to mention here is that by summing the weights in each of the percentiles, we can see that they all are, some of the weights are virtually identical in each one of the percentiles. That's what you mean by percentiles or deciles or quintiles or quartiles, is that they have the same number of weighted individuals in them. So this is a particularly powerful style of operation. You can designate one or two members of your team that are particularly adept and experienced at using SQL. They can create some scripts that they can share with everybody on the team. And if those scripts are sufficiently clearly documented and explained about what they do, you can use them over and over again. So as you can see here, this script that we used here, this create percentile table, it didn't depend on what the nature of the reform was. All you needed was the minimal dump output as a database. So you can use this over and over again without any change to when you want to quickly create a percentile table, because you want to eventually tabulate statistics for the whole sample by percentile. This would come up, for example, if you want to do some kind of custom tabulation or create a custom table that you would then graph, and you wanted to show it by percentile. So this is a powerful technique. You should remember it. And it's particularly useful in large organizations where the team has several people that have different sets of skills. Different team members can contribute different things to the project. And if you're working in a smart way along the lines that we've shown here, everybody can contribute and help everybody else be more productive. So that's it. This is really the end now of topic 4.